But even people that are against me are going to be voting for me.
After yesterday's first full day of the actual criminal trial of Donald Trump, last week was jury selection. Yesterday, the criminal trial began. A very confused Donald Trump appeared with John Fredericks on Real America's Voice, and he was unable or unwilling to answer even the most basic questions, to the point that the host was sort of confused and stunned that Trump would answer nothing. Trump was asked, "How are your family members holding up during the trial?" I laughed because it's like as if Trump knows, as if Trump cares. And Trump's answer doesn't contain any mention of how his family is holding up. The question was, how's your family holding up? Trump says words. He tries to synthesize thoughts into language, but it doesn't relate to the question that was asked.
We know each other a very long time. How's your family holding up through all this?
Yeah. Look, it's always tough when you can't go to your son's graduation. You know, he's a great student.
Now understand that that's Trump talking about himself, not how his family is holding up, interestingly enough.
He's a good boy, and you tell him you can't go to his graduation. This judge, who is a totally conflicted person, by the way, he should not be the judge of this case. He's so that nobody's ever been as conflicted as him, just about.
Ever.
But this judge said that you can't get away from the trial. You know, he's rushing the trial like crazy. Nobody's ever seen a thing go like this. That jury was picked so fast.
Doesn't Trump say at every single one of his speeches now that one of the great things about China is you get a quick trial? Somehow I don't think his own trial is what Trump had in mind.
5% Democrats. The area is mostly all Democrat. You think of it as just a purely Democrat area.
Yeah.
It's a very unfair situation, that I can tell you.
One of the things that is important to mention is that Trump is still lying that the judge said he can't go to Barron's graduation. The judge said he is not going to rule on that in April, when the graduation isn't until May 17th, and that it's going to depend on how the trial is going. And by the way, I assume the judge is going to let Trump go to Barron's graduation, but the judge has not ruled that Trump can't go. Then the topic of MAGA Mike Johnson came up. And as you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to catalyze the MAGA hardcore base to remove Mike Johnson the way they did to Kevin McCarthy. Mike Johnson flying down to Mar-a-Lago last week or the week before to get some FaceTime with Trump and to try to put forward a united front and save his speakership. John Fredericks asking Trump, what about the MAGA Mike Johnson stuff? And here's what Trump had to say.
A couple of them have called for his ouster now. We've got 3 congressmen calling for him to be replaced in the Republican side. But you're standing with him, and you've stood with him firmly. How do you square this divide now between MAGA and Mike Johnson with your support of him and our base?
Yeah.
Well, look, we have a majority of 1. Okay. So it's not like he can go and do whatever he wants to do. I think he's a very good person. You know, he stood very strongly with me on the NATO when I said that NATO has to pay up, and they have to pay up soon and fast. And he has stood strongly on that. He agrees with that. He also got some of the money in the form of a loan, quite a bit of the money in the form of a loan. And he, felt on that. But it's a tough situation when you have 1. I think he's a very good man. I think he's trying very hard. And again, we've got to have a big election. We've got to elect some people in Congress, much more than we have right now. And we have to elect some good senators, get rid of some of the ones we have now, like Romney.
So you know what I'm hearing in Trump's equivocation here? He's a good guy. We've only got 1, a majority of 1, a margin of 1. I'm hearing Trump essentially concede that he would be far more interested in the Marjorie Taylor Greene opposition to MAGA Mike Johnson if it wasn't control of the House that was hanging in the balance. And it's sort of the abortion question. I don't know, 1864 law, 2024 law, late term or not, or total ban, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. As long as you vote for me and it doesn't hurt my reelection, I'm kind of up for whatever. That's what I'm hearing there. A couple other strange moments from this interview. Trump confusedly saying that even people who are against him will be voting for him in November, which I haven't heard.
But even people that are against me are going to be voting for me. So
I don't know where he's getting that idea. It's a very, very strange idea. And then also Donald Trump declaring that America is a sick country.
What is going on with our country? It's a sick country.
You know, one of the things that has really changed in the Republican Party, depending on the age of people in the audience, I'm in my 80s, so I remember this when it was going on. In the George W. Bush era, you could criticize Bill Clinton or Barack Obama right before, after Bush era. You could even criticize that George W. Bush wasn't being right wing enough, or there were all sorts of criticisms that were allowed of the president. But you don't attack the country. You don't say the country used to be great, it's not good anymore. You don't say this is a sick country. You don't say that the country is now bad in the ways that Donald Trump has been saying. It was always something that the so-called conservative right, and to what degree they were conservative, we can argue about. You stopped short of saying the country sucks, essentially. But MAGA Trumpism has ushered in an era where up until the day Trump leaves office, the country is great. And the day that Trump leaves office and Joe Biden takes over, you immediately start saying the country's a joke. We're not great anymore. We've got to make it great again. It's a sick country. And that is considered acceptable now among MAGA Trumpist wings of the Republican Party. It used to be that you don't go that far. In the Romney wing, you say our taxes are too high. We have too much regulation. Our foreign policy has gone astray. But this is still the best country and it's a great country. With MAGA Trumpists, it is such a risk to even acknowledge we still think the country's great. Really? So even Biden didn't prevent the country from being great? Maybe Biden's not so bad. That's what they are terrified about. And that's why it is now acceptable to say that the country is bad and that the country is sick and that it's not great anymore. A big change from 20 years ago in this Republican Party. As many of you no doubt know, I'm originally from Argentina, and one of the things I really miss about being there is the soccer and how easy it is to find it on TV. And now that I live in the US, for soccer, I turn to private internet access. Our sponsor, Private Internet Access, is a VPN that lets you change your IP address and make it look like your computer is anywhere in the world. So I can set it to Argentina to access the soccer matches. I can set it to the UK to access British Netflix content, much of which is really good. A VPN is useful for many things like preventing your browsing history from being leaked online, but downloading and streaming large files like TV shows and movies is one area where private internet access really shines. Many VPNs are just too slow for streaming, the buffering, the disconnects. It's a nightmare. It is super easy to use private internet access. You turn it on with a single click, you're done. Works on your computer, tablet, TV, Roku, game console, anywhere that you stream, and you can use it on all your devices with just one account. Get private internet access for 83% off, which comes out to $203 a month, plus 4 extra months for free. Go to piavpn.com/Pacman. The link is down below.